WELSTech is a bi-weekly podcast exploring the intersections of technology and ministry. It is part of the podcast network sponsored by WELS, the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. Our show today is hosted by Martin Spriggs and Sallie Draper. Welcome back to WELSTech, everybody. This is episode 776, recorded on May 14th. That's a Thursday in 2026. My name is Martin Spriggs, and you've joined a show about technology and ministry. And joining me as usual to talk about that, amongst other friends today, is Sallie Draper. Hello, Sallie.
Good morning, Martin. I'm here without cough drops, so feeling better and hopefully won't grace you with too many coughs today.
Good to have you, as always. We have some friends with us. It is our educational technology focused show. In fact, the last for the school year. And those frequent listeners of the show have come to know, and I'm sure love, Rachel Renno, MLC. Hey, Rachel, how are you?
I'm doing just great. We're getting ready for graduation on Saturday. All my final projects were due yesterday. So if we could make this take as long as possible so I can procrastinate grading those, it'd be fantastic. 2-3 hours.
Yes, sure. Well, considering the topic for today, we could spend 2-3 hours on this stuff. And of course, Mr. Sunshine himself, Jason Schmidt. Hey, Jason, from northern Wisconsin. Can I say that?
Don't tell my wife you said that, but most other people would say that, yes, this is northern Wisconsin. We'll say northeastern Wisconsin.
North of
coming to
here.
you from Oshkosh today.
Right. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Really appreciate it. We put together kind of a fun show today. We decided that we've had Jason and Rachel on since, I don't know, when was the first time we had them on, Sallie? So 601, did we find that was the first show?
Well, that's
even before
as far
that.
back as we went. But I think Jason's been on the show since maybe episode 2 or 3.
Right.
Yeah, he's been around a long time with us.
Right. And we thought, well, we have the technology. Let's shove all of our conversations with Rachel and Jason in our AI chatbots and ask them to kind of build a fun little show about all their past opinings and their predictions and their soapboxes. And we're going to share with you some of those results and chit chat about some of the things that they have found interesting over the years. We had fun doing it, and keep in mind that we turned up the snark meter a little bit, in the AI output just for grins. So there were a number of categories that it came up with, and we're going to go through those, and we'll talk about each one of them a little bit and see how true or half true or not true some of these are. So we call this the Jason and Rachel files, a wholly unauthorized retrospective. And what just a little bit about how we did this. We took all the audio files and I ran them through my pick of the week, a product from OpenAI, an open source product, and transcribed them all into VTT files, fed that into Claude, and let Claude kind of build a little show for us. So number one, the Did We Really Say That Hall of Fame. And the Don't Quote Me on That award goes to Jason from episode 601, way back in 2019, on getting people to use secure passwords. He said, if somebody else figures out the magic way to do that, I'm happily going to learn at your feet because I have not cracked that, not yet. And AI chimed in with a little commentary. That little not yet is doing a lot of heavy lifting 6 years later. Jason, the password problem hasn't been solved. It's just been outsourced to your phone and a fingerprint. We checked. Still waiting at your feet.
Hey, yeah,
True.
that's one of those things. I think that comment still kind of aged. It feels like it aged well. We're still dealing with secure passwords and all of those things, but we're almost past the point where passwords are a thing, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is really an interesting way for that, that the summary kind of grabs that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially like thinking about just the recent Canvas hack and all the things that are going along with that side of things. Like it'll be interesting to see kind of what's next. So interesting.
Passkeys are big in the picture at this point too, and I think there's a lot of confusion and inconsistencies in how they're
Hmm.
implemented and used, and I think that's going to be hopefully something that clears things up and is a partial solution to the whole password mess that we've created for ourselves, so to speak. So, yeah. I mean, I think gone are the days, we've talked about it here in the office here too. Our even strong passwords a good recommendation, so they act as a deterrent sometimes for people to create and use and not write down and not share. Um, and should they even expire, that's another deterrent too. So congratulations on that. Don't quote me on that award, Jason. The Confidence is Spelled COVID award goes also to Jason. When it comes, he said, I guess we believe, I didn't verify, we have not verified
This
all
sounds
of the
like something I would
transcriptions.
say, though.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
From 2021, when it comes to technologies, it's not so much about skills anymore. We don't need to teach people how to do things because they've been in this crisis mode for the last 14 months. They have to figure this out, and they have. And Claude says, bless his post pandemic heart. By episode 772, Jason was the one telling us the research shows we mostly didn't learn the right things. We just learned to do the wrong things faster with a webcam on. Character development. True
Yeah,
enough,
again, it's
right?
it's very true. Yeah, that's very true. Didn't that one didn't age well. I'm starting to like, I don't know, anything negative in these lists is like coming out against me. I don't know what this is going to say about the quality of the show here. Maybe you want to find a new correspondent next
Let's
time.
try a different chat bot, maybe.
Maybe they'll
Well,
be a
I
little
do
more
think it's
favorable to me.
interesting that it spanned the COVID time frame
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
we were all scrambling. May 2021, we were still scrambling, so it was very hard to predict and know the right direction to go. And now we're living in the post world that made mistakes along the way and is trying to survive based on that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I think even things we take for granted now, like Zoom, video, Google Meet, those kinds of things, which are part of everybody's day, I think this at this point, were a total mystery to a majority, of coworkers and our listeners even. So I think we're living in a totally different world than in a
Mhm.
space of how many, just a few years. So yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to kind of go back and listen to or read through the conversations we had in that COVID time. Very different time. All right. The We Are Living in the Future of My Predictions Award goes to Rachel. March 2022. She says the top 10 skills of 2025 all really center around, can you think creatively and can you solve problems? Claude says she nailed the destination. ChatGPT then showed up about 8 months later, blew up the road, and started selling tickets to a different city. Rachel, right answer, wrong century. I don't know if this is wholly true. What do you think, Rachel?
See, I don't agree with Claude there, because I believe that Claude helped us in this situation where we had a problem, we didn't have a topic for a podcast, and we
Right?
thought creatively on how to fix that, and this is what we've ended up with. So I think it contradicted itself in coming up with a creative solution to our problem.
Right. I think there's a nuance there, don't you think, with people's negative or positive impressions of AI, and it comes back to usage, use cases, and how you apply a technology to a problem, which is the same as it was 20 years ago. Is it the right technology, and is it the right problem? Isn't it solving it for you?
Absolutely. I was actually just talking about this with my husband the other day, because he loves ChatGPT to no end. He's a musician and has been using it to source different different speakers and things to get whatever sound he's after. If you ever want to do a podcast about speakers and the kinds of sounds they produce, he's your man. But then yesterday at work, they were encouraging more use of AI. And he's like, because he had used AI for creative problem solving of what speakers do I want to get to produce this sound for my albums, he already knew kind of how to ask the AI the right questions to get the answers he needed at work. And it's a different type of creativity, but definitely a skill in and of itself. You can't just ask your AI anything. You have to think through how to ask it questions. So I'm gonna say that Claude got this one wrong.
Okay. I'll definitely give you that one. Don't you think part of AI's bad rap, so to speak, where it has one, maybe stems from the what I would call the anthropomorphic, moniker you put on an AI. It's a person. It's a person replacement. It's an assistant. It's a sidekick, and it humanizes it, where that kind of takes it out of the technology tool realm into a more ethical conversation and concern. And it really doesn't have to be that way. So I used for many months, probably maybe even a year, I would begin or interact with my chat bot using the word please, or things that I would maybe say to a person sitting across the table from me. And I've now forced myself to not do that. That it's an order taker, it's a technology, and I don't need to do that. That's just a waste of energy, and it further enhances that idea that
Mindset.
yeah, you have to treat it in a certain way. What do you think?
It is not a waste of energy to have manners.
Oh, there, that'll be a quote in the next time we do this. Yes.
Yes.
I think my mom would
No,
agree. Yeah.
but I get your point. I talk to it like a human too, and it talks back to me like a human, which is, really kind of freaky when you
Hmm.
stop and think about it. Um, but what I find interesting is we have for a long time been pushing for transformative use of technology. And this one, AI really is probably one of the first that really is transformative.
Hmm.
There's no way you can do some of the things you can do with AI without the AI. Um, and I think that's scary. But it also can just replace a human if you do it wrong. And
Hmm.
that also is very scary. Um, And it's the fact that we're towing that line that I think freaks people out, me included. Um, what are the points of some of the things that we do when you can type it into AI and it just gives you your 8-page history essay, which it looks like Claude is going to tell us about next. Um, but that's where our creativity comes in, is how can we use this in a way that is fun. And I mean, could all four of us have sat down with every transcript and read through them all and come up with all this information? Yeah, we're smart people. Um, but how long would that have taken
Right.
us?
Mhm.
I don't even want to think about how long that would have taken us. We're
Yeah.
talking weeks. And
Right.
I don't know, Martin, did we spend like an hour, 2 hours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, trying
Interesting.
back
Yeah.
there.
I think we've been trying to make technology as friendly and approachable as possible for a long time. We think back. Some of us can remember the Clippy days and, those little things that tried to make technology feel not so intimidating. And I think that's part of what we're talking about here, that, maybe that's working against us too. All right, next one, the Et2 Jason Award. Jason said last year, in fact, about this time, if the point is to produce an essay, it's probably going to be honestly more authentic if I have them write it out by hand. This is the executive director, Claude says. This is the executive director of Wisconsin Virtual Schools recommending pencils on a tech podcast. We don't know what to do with this information. We're simply going to read it aloud slowly and let everyone sit with it.
So this is an example of a hallucination because at that point in time, I was no longer working for the Wisconsin Virtual
Oh,
School.
okay.
I
It's
was in a school
conflated that.
district.
Yeah.
I had to double check that just to make sure. But yeah, so
Checking the
I
AI. That's a good lesson.
that's right. And I stand by that statement. I fully believe that and again, like the context of that is like reevaluating the way that you go about assessing student knowledge. And if the purpose is to write an essay, your AI tools are going to do that for them. So if you want to assess a student's writing ability, don't have them do it electronically, do it by hand. And that's going to give you a better reflection of what students' capabilities are. So I will still stand by that statement. And also, like I think it needs to force the conversation around how are we assessing students' knowledge? And this is the same conversation that we had when Google was a thing or when, Wikipedia. Like we've been saying for years, if kids can Google the answer, why are you assessing them on it? So,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same conversation, just a different tool. So I'm not wrong.
I'll give you that one too.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, that's a good hot take. Yeah. Speaking of hot takes, Sallie, you want to take the next one?
Sure, it says the Bold Hot Take Award, an honorable mention, goes to Rachel. My desert island EdTech tool would be Google Slides, which I know sounds a little odd. It says, Rachel, sweetie, you're stranded on a desert island. You don't need a worksheet, which is not what Google Slides is. But also, somehow, yes, we respect it. So there you go.
I love this one.
I will
Google Slides
say,
for the win. It's like a pocket knife, a Swiss Army knife. Is that still not true, Rachel?
I mean, it might be a close, like I'd have to think through Google Slides or Canva at this point, because
Mm.
Canva's kind of exploded to be so many different things.
Hmm.
But I still love me some Google Slides, just the simplicity, but also the amount of
Versatility.
features and different things you can do with it. Um,
Mhm.
I say I could teach an entire graduate level course using only Google Slides.
Boom.
Mm.
I
Another
think
hot
I
take.
would, yeah, I'd get behind that. I think that's true.
I think Jason could too. Mine would just be cuter.
It would be much cuter. Mine would be very much like to the point, and like I have no sense of what looks good or any of that kind of stuff. I should be a designer at Google, honestly.
Lower the
Like
bar.
utilitarian, black
Mm-hmm.
and white, give me a color palette of like 5 colors and a couple of graphics, like I'm good.
I bet there's
Mm-hmm.
an AI for that that could boost
Mm-hmm.
your creativity.
All right, the
Apparently, I
last
need to
one
use
in
Canva
this,
too.
the last one in this category. And this is, I think, actually my favorite. The phrase that should be cross-stitched on a pillow award. Jason said in episode 743, We have to avoid app vomit.
Woo.
Claude says we will be borrowing this. We will not be giving it back.
And they can have it. That's
I think
okay.
I think I had to really restrain myself to make this the show title for that show. We didn't.
I think I remember that.
I don't remember the context of this though. What were we talking about? Do you remember, Jason?
It has to do with the like giving teachers so many options of like all of these different things that all do like similar things or the same things, and really just focusing in on the specific application of whatever it is that you have available. So, like something like, I'll take Seesaw for example. If you're an iPad school and you're not using Seesaw, you've got like 8 different apps that all do something similar that that same app would do. So really, when we're talking about app vomit, it's just like giving people so many different options of doing different things, when really like 1 or 2 focused apps with a little bit of training and creativity would meet those same objectives and lower the bar for entry so that you don't have to spend so much time training or switching back and forth from this thing to this thing or any of those kinds of things. And I think too, like that ties into that conversation that has been starting to come up just nationally around screen time and the amount of screen time that we're allowing with kids and all of that kind of stuff. If we've got just a couple of apps that are really focused, that helps us focus our teaching on the things that we want to accomplish. So that's really what that one is. And I will agree with Claude. Like I need that needs to be cross stitched on a pillow, or
Yes.
like make posters of it. Rachel, throw that into Canva. Like let's make that into some 16 by 24. Like that's got to be all over the place.
You
Yeah.
got it. I'm on it. I also know how to cross stitch. So,
Oh, excellent.
You were saying before, Jason, that you've got the worst background of the 4 of us here, so we could actually digitize that. And I could be right behind
Oh,
you.
there
Be
you go.
behind you
Yeah.
as your
All right. That sounds like a
background.
plan.
I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it.
This is further evidence that we do no editing whatsoever on this show. Still in there. All right, next category, what Claude called the evolution arc, or how 2 tech enthusiasts slowly became tech realists. I'm just going to read these and then we can react. Jason first started this journey as the guy who cheerfully drive across 3 counties to show your teachers how to use Formule. To 2026, he is on the podcast quoting a book called The Digital Delusion and politely suggests that maybe we shouldn't have given every child a Chromebook just to fill out the same worksheets we used to print. His worry in 2019 was that teachers wouldn't adopt the technology. His worry in 2026 is that they did, and we forgot to talk about why. Same Jason, same priorities, different Cliff he's hollering, watch out from. That's well written. I love that.
Yeah. 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 And I think that's mostly accurate, right? And also like I don't feel my priorities have shifted. Um, I think the way that we talk about things has changed though. So yeah, people didn't listen. They need to start listening. Rachel, is that going to start happening?
No,
Okay.
not
All
in my
right.
experience.
Rachel started as a tactical genius, the one who knew every Google trick, every blogger worth following, and exactly which Alice Keeler script sheet would save you from clicking make a copy 47 times. Then she went and got a doctorate in digital badges in faculty professional development, which is the academic equivalent of putting on reading glasses and getting serious about this. The Rachel of 24 to 26 still loves a good tool. She just won't tell you what it is until you've answered 3 questions about your lesson objectives first. Cheerleader to coach, tactical to theoretical, same warmth, sharper edges. And Rachel's smiling.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
I can still tell you which Alice Keeler script to use. I just used it the other day.
Okay. I love it.
And I can tell you that if you need to write scripts in Google Sheets, you should be using Gemini because Gemini does a really great job of me saying, hey, I want to do this really funky, weird thing in Google Sheets. Please write an app script for that. And it
Mm-hmm.
does. And it's great.
That awesome. I like this. We all evolve, right? I mean, there's a technological arc we're all on, and I think our perspectives are changed by experience, conversations. I think each time I listen to you guys, I think I learn a little bit, and my take is sometimes different the next time I think about something. So I think that's one of the reasons we do the show is to kind of offer different dimensions and explore different areas that may make us think and do things differently or consider things we never thought before. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The next category, the recurring soapbox, brought to you by Tomahawk, Wisconsin. Jason's soapbox, it's not the tool, it's the teaching. You could let's see, I got to read this right. You could hand Jason a tin can on a string and he'd give you a 12-minute reflection on how the can isn't the problem. The communication strategy is the problem. He had said some version of this in approximately every episode. We checked. It's true. We cannot be stopped. We don't want to stop him. We just want him to know we noticed.
That's
We love you,
fantastic.
Jason.
It's so true.
Oh, yeah.
I have nothing to add to that. We even got into it earlier in this episode. We worked it in.
Yeah, we did, right?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah,
even
yeah,
see
yeah.
that before. That's awesome.
Not the tool, it's the teaching. Rachel
Well,
has
and
a
if that's a
soapbox.
soapbox, like that's a really good soapbox.
It is,
I
right?
approve that soapbox.
Maybe that's why I keep coming back. That's good.
And we had a hint of Rachel's before, her soapbox. What is your lesson objective? Rachel will let you finish your sentence about the cool new app you found. She will smile politely. Then she will ask with the gentle inevitability of a teacher who has been asking this question for 2 decades. And what is the lesson objective? And you will not have an answer. You will feel slightly seen. You will become a better educator. This is her ministry.
Again,
It's right on
nailed
her
it, huh?
business card.
Nailed it.
I love the you will not have an answer.
That's right.
But you know, Jason, I think if we put those two things together, isn't that the message we want every teacher to
Uh-huh.
have about technology? It's
Mhm.
still
100%.
about your teaching
Mm-hmm.
and it's still about our lesson objectives. Like
Right.
I Claude nailed this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I approve 100%.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. We have a lightning round, and this is actually for me and Sallie to answer. These are questions about Jason and Rachel or what they said. All right. Number one, I'll read the first one and I'll let you react, Sallie, and we can kind of alternate. All right. I did not actually look at all of these ahead of time, so there's a little bit of concern in my voice if you can hear it. It says, mic's open, no hedging, no, well, it depends, 10 seconds per answer. Jason or Rachel, who would survive longer in a classroom with no Wi-Fi?
I think I'd have to go with Jason on that one. Rachel's gonna have her Google Sheets on the island, so she's got
She's
some
got
serious
Starlink and all the
connections.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And her
Claude said,
water
trick
bottle
question.
timer.
Rachel told us in episode 6, 7 to 7 she doesn't go places without internet.
Oh.
I
Still
don't.
true?
It's true.
Okay. So I would survive longer because because you wouldn't even be there. I would win by default.
Exactly. Yes.
That's right.
Because I would plan ahead
Yeah.
to figure
Okay.
out if
Yeah.
there is Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Right.
That's fair. Yep.
That's fair. Yes. All right, Sal, you got the next one.
Be honest, Martin, when Jason said app vomit on a Christian podcast, were you proud or concerned?
Probably a little of both, but I always consider the source.
We know him well.
Yes.
In
No,
character, right?
that's we expect him to bring that kind of energy to the podcast. And that's why the blend here is coming through loud and clear with different soapboxes, but there's still, just a nice partnership. I love having these guys on because they play off of each other, and I think hopefully our audience benefits. So
Who would have
even if
thought,
it gets a
Jason?
little
Who'd
edgy,
have
yeah,
thought? Yeah, right.
no kidding. All right, Sallie, rank these by how often Jason mentions them in passing. Tomahawk, Oshkosh, Green Bay, up north, or the dividing line of Highway 29.
That's a funny thing because we talked about him being up north, but not referring to it to his wife earlier in the podcast. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, um, he's part of that Great White North and
Yeah, but
our
he's been all over the place
favorite
too.
state.
So
That's
yeah.
right. Didn't you start in Florida when we first podcast with you, Jason?
I think I was in Nebraska by then.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was somewhere around 2007, I think was when I started on the podcast.
That's when the podcast started. So good memory.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Sal, you got the next one here.
All
Lightning
right.
round.
Rachel earned a doctorate, got married, changed her last name, which is no small feat. During the run of this series, did Jason earn anything besides a longer commute and a tire collection in his garage? I,
I don't know if I should. I don't think we should
yeah.
answer that. I think Jason should answer this.
I honestly, I I read this and I was like, no, I don't think I did.
Got
I mean,
nothing.
I suppose you could say like I have like other life changes. Like I've married off two kids, I've got a grandchild,
There you
like,
go.
there's that kind of stuff, but like professionally, yeah, I think Rachel's got me beat there.
I think you've earned a lot of professional development along the way in
Oh, there
many
we go.
different ways.
Yeah.
Many different ways.
Yeah. All right, last one, Sally, on the lightning round.
This lands on me? Or no, you're answering this.
Yeah.
One of these guests has own records, said handwritten essays might be more authentic in the AI era. The other on record recommended Google Slides as her desert island tool. Whose career are we more worried about at this point?
If you're not
Technology
worried about
leaders.
somebody's career because they say, things, I don't think they're out there enough. I think they should say things, and then we worry, and it all turns out fine. We kept inviting them back episode after episode, so I think that tells us where we stand with these guys,
Yes.
right?
Or that you're just a little nutty. I know. Take
Right.
your pick.
And I'll go back to, go ahead, Jason or Rachel.
I didn't have anything.
Okay. I'll just go back to saying we're happy that we've witnessed this arc over the last 7 years and the technology upheaval that's happened in that time frame. I mean, it's been an interesting conversation and really, really thrilled to have had it with both of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're going to stop there. That was fun. I think I would never go back to episode 1 and listen or watch to that thing. And these are really good sports to let us subject
Absolutely.
their words over the years to this level of critique. So,
and
thank you for doing that.
For that lofty salary that we pay them to do it.
Exactly right.
Volunteer.
Yeah. I was gonna say, my
Appreciate.
request, my budget request for next year is gonna be triple.
Okay.
So Martin, if that's a deal breaker, then we can talk.
All right. Very good. All right. Kind of fun. It does, I think, show us a few things about the width and breadth of the things we talk about and how technology lives and breathes and moves, and it's okay. That's why we have a show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to more mundane topics, but actually not. This is an exciting time of year. Sallie, go ahead, tell us what's coming up for some students and parents and spouses in the next 2 weeks.
Very exciting time, actually. We have arrived at the end of the school year, which means there will be graduation and assignments from both Martin Luther College and Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary. MLC's graduation and assignment day is this Saturday, May 16th. You can watch it all on the live stream link that we have available in the show notes. It's Martin Luther College 1197 on YouTube, and that's where all those events will be live streamed, including graduation commencement concert on Friday night, May 15th at 7:30 Central. So we'll put all the dates and times appropriate in the show notes. Same for Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary. There's this coming up vicar assignment on the 20th, pastor assignment on the 21st, and then they have a commencement concert that evening on the 21st and their graduation on the 22nd. So all of that will be on their YouTube channel, which is WLS _ live. So be sure to tune in, and prayers for these graduates as they begin their ministry. What an exciting time for them, and also for all of the congregations and schools that are hoping for a graduate assignment. We know it's an interesting time of year, and we know also that there are still shortages in ministry trained individuals. So we ask God's blessing. I believe the MLC Assignment Committee is meeting right now as we record this podcast. So exciting.
Yeah. Very nice. Noticing on the page that there's a groundbreaking live stream as well.
Oh, that's true. Scheduled for 5:20, which
5:20,
is
May 20th. Yep.
next Wednesday. And they're going to be, I think, adding more classroom space and a lot of interesting upgrades there at
Fellowship
WLS.
area, commons area at WLS there. So that's exciting. I've seen the plans, and it looks like they're going to artfully kind of blend it in with a very old architectural style, which looks at the same time modern. So it's exciting stuff.
Great.
All right. Can we move on? Picks of the week.
I think so. Rachel,
All
you're
right.
up first.
Absolutely. So mine is password based because, Jason says passwords are horrible.
Yeah.
I have been using 1Password as my password manager for quite a few years now, but they recently sent me an email saying that their price was going up. I think it might have been like $100 a year or something like that, which isn't like wildly unreasonable, but also perhaps like I was like, really, is that too much? So I thought I would just kind of investigate. And my husband and I both have iOS devices, and I run a Mac and have iPads. And so Bob Martins, who's been on our show before, actually suggested that I try out the iOS password app. And my first thing was, well, does it integrate with Chrome? Because while I love my iOS, I gotta use Chrome because, Google tools. And he said, well, there's an extension you can use. And sure enough, there is. That's my pick of the week. It's a Chrome extension that lets you use your iOS passwords right in Chrome. So it does the little autofill thing, just like another password manager would do. It was really quite easy to switch. 1Pass had an export option to a CSV file, which it did a very nice job of warning me that I should make sure to securely delete because it had all of my passwords in it. And then I could just import that from into the iOS password app. There's a little bit of cleaning up and housework to do because had some duplicates and stuff like that, but an awesome benefit beside it being free because we have Macs is that I can share all those passwords with my husband, and he didn't have to learn another app. It just autofills for him on his phone. He uses his face, doesn't need my face. And it has worked really well. I've been doing that probably for about 3 weeks now, and I am a fan.
Right.
I love that aspect of it, that Touch ID or Face ID integration. One thing that it still has me on 1Password, and I like 1Password, and I saw that price increase too, unfortunately, is credit card autofill. does not work with, well, it works with one password, and it actually works with iCloud passwords too, but only either on iOS or using Safari. And I do not use Safari because it just does not work for me. So that's kind of a showstopper, but I think if they can fix that, I don't think this extension does that. It doesn't have that credit card feature, but
It doesn't, but actually I use privacy for my credit cards. That's
privacy, what is that?
I guess it's my second pick of the week.
Okay.
It's another app. So we have some app vomit going on, huh?
Uh-huh.
It creates credit card numbers that are linked back to your credit card account.
Mhm.
They can be merchant specific. They can be, you can limit like how much can be charged on that particular number. It helps me because then if if a credit card expiration date changes, I can change it just in the privacy app and then
Hmm.
I don't have to change it everywhere. It's really helpful for those subscription type things where, you have to put in a credit card, but then it's like, hey, you get a week free or whatever. Well, I just put it in and say you can't charge it again, and it'll decline automatically. Um, so it lets you have a different credit card number for like every merchant that you use.
Mhm.
And it's got a Chrome extension, it's got a couple others. There's a limit, there's a free in the free version, they use Plaid, so it's secure. Um,
Mhm.
and there's a limit to like I think it's how many cards you can have or something. In the free version, I haven't come up against that limit and I use it a lot. There's
Okay.
um, phone app. You can use it in Chrome, and I don't use my actual credit or debit card number anywhere anymore. I just use that.
So does it work with Apple Pay or not? It does.
I think so.
Okay. Because that's what I normally use if I'm out and about. So, oh, interesting. Awesome. I'm gonna have to look at that. Thank you. Jason, I think you're up.
All right, so my pick is a music generator that is part of Google's experiments. So, the app is called Google Flow Music, and it works very similar to, like if you're familiar with Suno, it works kind of the same way. Since I'm in the Google ecosystem, and I have like everything I have is Google, I prefer to use something like this. If you have an AI Pro subscription, you get something like 10,000 credits to develop a music, and then or a song, and then also it allows you to you can also make music videos to go along with those. So just super super fun. I really just like a great way to kind of distract you from work if you ever need to do that. And this is kind of builds on the music generator that's built into Gemini, which only does 30 seconds at a time. So if you wanted something a little bit longer, you go over to Flow Music and you can use it there. So if you're on a workspace account, you have to enable this in your admin console settings if you wanted to use it there. Otherwise, it's a great personal tool just to kind of play around with. So that's my pick this week.
Cool. How have you used it?
Mostly just messing around. So nothing, certainly not anything practical. Mostly for me, it's just like it reflects my sense of humor. So,
Ah.
there's things like I have a song about not my circus, not my monkeys. And I
Mhm.
put it into a bluegrass theme, and then I also made it into a death metal one. So, just playing around with stuff. It's more for
It's
entertainment
fun.
purposes for me at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I could find some practical application for it at some time.
Reminds me, I was camping with some church friends last year, and around the campfire, we fired up Suno to generate some country music slash Christian slash campfire songs for
Yeah,
us. Total fun. Yeah. Put it on the Bluetooth speaker. We had a ball.
that's fun.
Technology around the campfire.
Yeah. Sallie,
My turn, and I am a day past my birthday. Yesterday was my
happy
birthday, May
birthday.
13th. And I just kind of experienced that happiness that technology provides us on our birthday and wanted to make mention. Obviously, if you're on Facebook or other platforms, you get kind of bombarded with all kinds of wonderful wishes from people from all aspects of your life. So that's a wonderful kind of fun day on Facebook or whatever. But what surprised me this year were the number of um, retailers that sent me birthday gifts. And I just thought I'd make mention of it. It's possible that you don't have a Harbor Freight app or a Culver's app in your life, but if you do and they ask your birth date, they will send you free things. So, Kevin actually is the Harbor Freight fan, and his birthday was this month as well. So, he actually got $15 to spend at Harbor Freight, which is a pretty
Nice.
nice birthday
That'll go a
gift.
little ways at a Harbor Freight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Apps like food apps, like I have McAllister's Deli and Culver's and others that sent me a free cookie or a free scoop of ice cream or whatever it may be. The winner in that category was actually Herbert and Gerbert. They sent me a free sub. So that's another, pretty nice reward, probably a $8 or $9 sandwich from Herbert and Gerbert. So if you're not in their app, you're missing out on your birthday. And then finally, Michael sent me a coupon for 30% off anything I want from their selection of items in the Michael's Craft Store, which is speaking my language. So
Nice.
I just thought I'd make mention of that as a tech Benny that is out there for your taking if you want to share your birthday with them. So
Birthday tips. Yes.
yes,
Cool.
that's
Take
that's it for
advantage of
me.
that. Cool. 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 All right. My pick of the week I referenced a little bit earlier in the show is a open source project called Whisper. It's from OpenAI, the ChatGPT people. It's on GitHub. So it's downloadable on every platform. It's a little geeky, but it is the perfect tool to do any transcription of audio. Don't confuse this with WhisperFlow, which has been my pick of the week in the past, which I use. This is purely a pedal to the metal, show me the MP3 files, and I'm going to spit out a WTT and all other formats too. It'll do text files and those kinds of things too, which is super helpful in, if you do a podcast and you want a transcript, comes in super handy. If you want to do a retrospective with your guest hosts, comes in super handy. I would think there's other ministry applications too. I know that sermons are recorded and those kinds of things. And if you want a transcript of that and to do things with it after that, maybe generate a Bible study or think about other derivative works that you might want to pull out of the content of a sermon and you need the text. This would be an easy way to do it. This has a bunch of settings and it uses different models, kind of a tiny model, a base model, a medium model, depending on how accurate you want it to be. But then also it would increase not only the accuracy, but you can kind of tweak the speed. So if you've got a big file, it could take a while, but this kind of rips right through it. So for instance, I don't know how many files we had, Sallie, probably 15, 20 audio files from our shows with Jason and Rachel. And it took 45 minutes to rip through all of that and give me we think pretty accurate transcription. I don't know if we've had too many issues with the transcription itself as we talk through them, but
And were you
kind of
using
fun.
it on the fast mode or the medium mode or?
I was using the medium mode.
Okay.
And then for one of the files, it would not get through it. It just kind of kept repeating itself. And I checked, and it wasn't just Jason, on his soapbox. It was truly a glitch in the file. And I applied a different model, and then it made it through. So
Okay.
good, totally free. GitHub. If you are on Linux or Mac, Windows machine. There are different ways to install it, and you have to kind of be a little bit comfortable with the command line or the terminal, but it's not hard. So pretty cool.
You mentioned a file format I'm not familiar with. What is WTT?
VTT.
VTT.
That's a guy. I don't remember what it stands for. Transcription has got to be one of the T's.
Okay.
Yeah, let me real-time AI
Video
usage.
text track.
I was
Oh,
gonna
there
say,
you
yeah,
go.
that's
Okay,
because
there we go.
that's with closed captioning, so it's got the timestamps and stuff like that.
Yep. Yep,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
And you can actually use that to upload to YouTube or other video sources too if you
Hmm.
want to provide the real-time transcription. So
Nice.
pretty cool.
Learned something new today.
Yep. Sallie, community news and feedback. Close the show.
Sure. Wanted to make mention that we received an email from Pastor Phil Yankee, who serves at Winnebago Lutheran Academy as Director of Admissions and Communications, and it is a technology-related communication question. He brought up that they are investigating compliance with the new Wisconsin Act 89. Apparently, it was just signed into law on March 6th, so very recent. And it's in relation, actually, as I did more reading, to Act 88, both of which have to do with grooming, anti-grooming, and especially in people with authority, such as teachers, etc. So the policy requirements specifically for Act 89 have to do with schools adopting policies on appropriate communication, including methods and content, covering interactions both during and outside of school hours. And it's targeted towards school employees and volunteers who act in an official capacity. And it applies to your own school, other schools, home based private education, any interactions with students. Um, and schools need to be compliant by September 1st. So this is something a lot of Wisconsin schools, and I would guess other states are probably following suit, are going to need to really pay attention to. Pastor Yankee was specifically asking about a communication platform called, let's see, I have it up here, called Parent Square. And if anybody had any experience with Parent Square specifically, he mentioned a couple of others that were more sports oriented. There's one called sportsyou.com, and another called teamreach.com, all of which are different communication platforms that could potentially be part of your compliance with this law, basically. And he was just looking for feedback on this Parent Square one. It does require in the law that training be held, and it says that the Wisconsin Department of Public Information is going to provide a free training module, but schools have to document annual training for employees on these communication policies in relation to anti-grooming. So, anybody have any experience with Parent Square?
So, yes, and I would say that like of the communication apps that are out there, Parent Square is probably the gold standard. And so with that gold standard designation also comes the gold standard cost. So
Mhm.
I want to say that Parent Square is somewhere around $7 or $8 a student. So it's not free, it's not inexpensive, but it is very robust and does a lot to support communications like across platforms. So anytime you want to do text messaging, it's going to be expensive. Like there's no such thing as a free text messaging service, because it costs whoever is providing that service, it costs them money. So you're always going to have to pay for that in some way, shape, or form. The most important thing that anybody who's complying with this law needs to understand is, up until this point, no private schools have had to comply with open records law, and now they do. So like that compliance of like whatever tool it is that you're using, it has to be auditable, it has to be discoverable, and you have to be able to provide content to people who request it, who have a valid reason to. So like all of those things are, that's a huge change with the way that things have been, that we've been able to operate in the past. And so like whatever platform you choose, there has to be some sort of administrative capability, and it can't be the coach. Like so that's what's gonna like something like Sports U is not going to work because the person who owns the account is the one who's responsible for being able to export any messages or anything like that. So those tools, you need to have some sort of third person who can serve as sort of a check and a balance and an investigator should something come up. So those are the key things on there. Parent Square 100% gets my endorsement as far as like bang for the buck. But there are other tools out there too. Oh, what's the one? Class Dojo is going to want to try to get in on this part of things. Talking Points is another one that a lot of people use. Talking Points can get really expensive really fast, but it's got really good translation features that go along with that. So, and then the only other piece of advice that I would have for anybody with this, if the Canvas breach has any, if we have any lessons learned from that, be fully aware of all of the risks that are associated with any type of integration. So if you're looking at a PowerSchool integration to go with any tool, make sure that you have a really clear rationale for why certain data is needed for any particular app, and only send them what they need. Don't send them everything they ask for. Send them only what they need in order to make the service work. Because we're going to run into all kinds of problems as from a cybersecurity perspective. I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with current events. So there's my soapbox. That was not about the tool.
Perfect.
Thank you,
That was
Jason.
another tip, free tip right there.
I'll echo what Jason said. Once you have those privacy things completely nailed down and figured out, I would suggest that schools, because we don't like paying for things, but I think this is a case where you're gonna have to get the features that you need. And so when you do pay for a tool, invest in the time to make sure your teachers know how to use all the features. Something like Parent Square can do an awful lot of things. And if you're paying for it, you should use it. So make sure it's all set up that all your teachers know what it can and can't do, so that you're really making good use, being good stewards of that tool and the money.
Very good. That's 776 show in the can. Really appreciate Jason and Rachel for their good sportiness, willing to play along and have some fun with us. We enjoyed it as well. So hopefully our audience did too. So thanks to all of our listeners who spent their time the last hour with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned a few things as well. I know I did. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.